So it's making sure that we go, I'll even tell you this too. There's some competitors of ours that like to have a lot of forms even on their website that have give examples. And hey, we've probably pulled some examples from there as well. It helps us, it's all public intel. So great marketing team, and that was what they came on to do immediately, was do a full brand revamp.
Welcome back to another installment of Next Gen Case Study Series. On today's episode, I have with me Mike McQuarie, who is the Global Director of Sales Development at CMX1, where he leads business growth initiatives for the company's enterprise clients. With a background in business development and sales, he's played a pivotal role in scaling sales operations at CMX1, leveraging AI and automation technologies to enhance supply chain quality, risk, and compliance management. Mike has previously held roles at Anytime Fitness, Reply By, and Sendoso, where he's excelled in sales leadership. He holds a degree in business, management, and marketing from the University of New Mexico, and all of that is why we're excited to have him on the show. Mike, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Devin. Very excited to be here today.
Yeah, the pleasure is all mine. I'm particularly excited to get into some of the work you're doing here for the sales development at CMX1. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves here, Mike, let's just start with a quick little background, maybe a couple of minutes on who you are, where you came from, and how you landed your role as a global director of sales at CMX1.
Sure. So yeah, my name is Mike McQuarie. Originally born and raised in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Lived in Dallas, Phoenix for the last about 7, 8 years. In Phoenix now, Chandler area. Never really foresaw myself getting into software sales growing up. Let me tell you, I had a totally different, kind of plan for myself. Things kind of fell through, and then opportunities presented themselves through mutual friend groups in the Phoenix area. A lot of people are in the SaaS space in Phoenix. So for anyone in the audience that isn't aware, SaaS, software as a service, probably basic, but just want to make sure we're following. So I was really big into the fitness, the bodybuilding scene for years. I was a competitive bodybuilder in classic physique. Was really close to going pro. While I was had still been in software sales, and kind of thought that was going to be my journey. Software sales was kind of a way to propel some of that. A lot of the competing came to a crashing halt in 2020 due to COVID.
Mm.
No, there was no all the competing, all the shows were canceled for the year. So I really just decided to double down in my sales career, and found myself here at Reply By. So it started off really in my sales side of things at Anytime Fitness as a club manager in the Phoenix Valley. There's about 6 clubs that I oversaw, and what I loved every single day, week, month was really just driving new memberships. There was just so many relationships that I built that way, and obviously that's how you build some commission as a gym manager at Anytime Fitness. So that was my big motivating factor. I loved it. Month over month, I tried to be the best that I could to drive the most that I could in sales. And then, from some mutual friend groups, I just kept seeing people doing well in software sales, software sales. What's going on in this technology space? It just seemed to be booming in, probably 2016, 2017 times. So I found myself at a really small startup called Reply By. We sold text messaging software. Really got hit the ground running fast. I did an awesome deal with the Green Bay Packers in my first few months there, selling text messaging software to them for inclement weather updates for all their season ticket holders.
Oh,
So, any ice on the roads or black ice, snow hazards, they were sending those text messages out to their season ticket holders, just to alert them of when they need to leave or what routes might be better to take, things like that.
mm.
It was a really small company, man. We're talking, I was the 11th employee. I think we had about 15 total. It was really, really, down and dirty in the weeds of things. We're going to company websites trying to look for contact phone numbers to call them. It was really, really basic. And then I was fortunate enough to find myself at a role called a company called Sendoso. They're a automated sending platform. So really, they send automated gift cards, coffee cards, Amazon gifts. It was really to target marketing and sales leaders to drive more attendance to sales meetings at the end of the day.
Hmm.
When COVID happened, there was a series of layoffs that I was a part of on the third wave. You can imagine a automated sending platform to send to people's workplaces when everyone's remote was a little iffy. So that landed me there. Then about 5, 6 months later, I was fortunate enough to find this role at CMX1, and I came on as our lone entry level sales development representative, supporting 4 account executives. That was July of 2021, and that my goal was to become an account executive. Felt like I had, more than enough years experience under my belt. Want to walk in, learn the product, We sell quality management software, so that was new for me. Came on and hit the ground running. And in December of that year, so about 6 months into the role, my at the time manager offered me a role to become an account executive at the company, which I did accept. But then about a week later, he had been speaking with the CEO, the board of investors at Morgan Stanley. So we got acquired by Morgan Stanley in 2021. So that's who we report to. And they said, hey, looking at the pipeline, the revenue that is already generating, the revenue we're going to close in this Q1 of this next year. What does Mike think about building a sales development team? So they brought that topic up to me, and I thought about it. And at my previous role at Sendoso, I was the 14th SDR. By the time I left, I was 38th. I was one of the four captains, and I didn't realize all of the amazingness that I got to experience in growing a team, whether it's technology, automation, overcoming objections, coaching, mentoring, that had really prepped me in a great spot to come over to here at CMX1 and build a sales development team. So I ended up pivoting and have grown first it was just a North American sales development team. And then this last year, we've launched a global team. So we have some people in Australia, New Zealand, UK. So now it's just trying to scale wherever we can around the globe. We've had a lot of success. So a little wordy, but that's what's brought me here. And I couldn't be more thankful for the opportunity. So it's been fun, a lot of stories, a lot of data, a lot of trials and tribulations. So that's what's brought me here today.
Yeah, a lot of incredible opportunities to learn and develop your skills as a salesperson, but then not just a salesperson. I'm kind of getting that your focus now is really around kind of building those teams and helping assemble, the sales group. From what you've experienced in all of that time, what do you think goes into assembling a solid team of people? What do you look for?
So there's one of the main phrases that I've come to live by as a manager is getting the right butts on the right seat of the bus. There's this book called Good to Great that I've dissected front to end. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it or any of the viewers. If you're not, Good to Great, fantastic book. And so that's really been my hiring practice. I have an amazing CRO that is more of a mentor than a boss. That it's really hire and inspire, and really from the get go, understanding from a self development standpoint, we need you got to have motivated people, and what we live and die by are the phones. And so really it's getting people in that are hungry, motivated, and are willing to, gets told no 10 times on the phone and still go pick that phone up another 10 times and have no issue. So it's really driving as much conversation as we can, people to people. We use some AI and some great automation and some tech in the background for some of our emails or LinkedIn or account intent, which is huge.
Mhm.
But when it comes to generating, front of funnel engagement, it's all about the phones being, and then from the phones, what we really try to do is get people to try to meet in person. So we're, if it's a good account, a good opportunity, we tell them, hey, we're more than willing to get out there in person for an in-person meeting. Doesn't matter if you're in Atlanta, you could be in Canada, Mexico. We've been to Peru even. So for some of the right accounts, we really want to make sure from the get-go this comes we're coming about it as a partnership standpoint, and the people that we deploy out into the field, they got to be people good with people. They have to be happy, be likable, and just be ruthless on the phones. There's a thing that I train my teams on. It's being a ruthlessly efficient SDR, and that's a little bit about kind of what we look for coming on.
Yeah, when it comes to building relationships and establishing rapport and connecting with people, to your point, being a people person is one of the things that really makes it beneficial to be in that role, but also this idea of being able to connect easily with people and um, be resilient when you can't. Because that's a lot of times when you're trying to connect to somebody, you're met with whatever they got going on in their life. And so there's this empathy and understanding that has to go into the process, and a lot of training, a lot of sales stuff, a lot of um, material that's out there right now. I don't think focuses enough on the authenticity of, to your point, going out there, making the calls, having the conversations, getting turned down enough times to find the right people. At what point, though, do we take this very subtle, nuanced relationship building thing and turn it into a system? And what does that look like for the work that you do?
Sure. No, that's a great question. So, might be a little wordy here, but it's been a lot of development to get this program to where we've been. So,
Hmm.
we sell quality management software, and there's definitely a lot of players in the quality management software space. So, as soon as you have motivated people that are going to go and get down and dirty, then the next thing is you got to arm them with the best content possible, the best accounts, the best leads that you can. That if they are picking up the phone, they are answering emails, they are reading your LinkedIn message, they're going to be the most receptive possible. So, one thing that we've done really well, and I hope we continue to do it well, is really targeting the right competitors of ours and then utilizing technology to build lists of potential users of those competitors, and then for us to turn around and target. We've done a lot of due diligence in what we call competitive displacement. So there's several companies that we have, internal battle cards on that have a list of things that they can do, they can't do, how we do it better, how they lose deals, how they win deals. Then I on my team with all that data. So right from the get-go, there's a high likelihood of you get John Smith on the phone. We know he's probably using this technology. If he's using this technology, it's probably for XYZ. So now, right out the gate, we're gonna target him with that content, with that intel we have. And usually what I see is when you're able to make that call out to that person, the barriers that they have into that conversation are a lot smaller, not as many filters that they're willing to talk to you with. And then from the get-go, it's a much more normal relationship opposed to just trying to force a business relationship there.
Hmm.
Research done in the back end to make sure once they get that person on the phone, um, this is the right to for the right reasons. So we've done a lot in the background things. We've interviewed previous users at competitors. We've looked at webinars. We've met with people at conferences, trade shows, and the 3.5 years that I've been here, that's where a big source of our new revenue has come from would be competitive displacement. So that's a little bit about what we do here.
That's an interesting new term, competitive displacement, something that I haven't yet heard on the show in
Okay,
170 conversations I've had so far. Not one
okay,
person
I like
has
that.
has talked about that, and that's a really interesting angle. And so to your point, this is about mapping out what the experience of your intent, like the people you're intending to serve, like those prospects, you're kind of mapping that experience out and then looking for, hey, what's our competitor getting right so that we can also do that? What are they getting wrong so that we can improve upon that? And then how are we putting that message now out to that group of people so that, if the competition screws up or they're not happy or they're looking for something that is a little bit more robust or, maybe they're trying to be a little bit more innovative. And so they find you, they interact with you, and then your sales team now is armed with all of the tools that they need to be able to do that deep level of research so they can better understand who they're working with or who they're talking to, and then slowly kind of merge them into this ecosystem that you guys are creating, and inevitably leading them to them being a client. So is that kind of like an accurate picture of your marketing machine?
That's spot on, and I'll give you a quick little 20-second example here. It could be we're going after ABC company, and we've seen through some of our technology that there's some high intent there, meaning that they are looking at quality management compliance software. Some of the technology that we have might show three, four, five, six potential stakeholders are Googling this. Okay, from now let's go and look at some of the titles that we would target. We know if they're in safety or they're in supply chain or in compliance. We already know some of the use cases, the modules to target them with. And then if we know that they're using probably some sort of a competitor of ours that we're familiar with, and we're seeing some intent here. We really know, okay, these are the people for us to go target and talk to first. And that's really how we map out all of our enterprise accounts.
Really powerful. So when it comes to that kind of top of funnel awareness stuff, I think you pointed at there's content that goes into this. So you have use cases or case studies, that sort of thing. How are you juggling the the task of managing a media company secondarily to the actual company? Because that's also something that a lot of businesses are facing as a challenge right now is in order to be relevant, you have to have something that's online. And the traditional way of advertising, like, hey, we're a business that does this thing, it doesn't work anymore. People ignore it, they scroll right past it. It takes zero point 0.3 seconds and a flick of a thumb to erase you. So you really do have to be leading with value. How are you guys managing that?
Yeah, I would love to raise my hand and say, hey, all of the managing of the media, the content rolls up to me. It doesn't, but I
Mm,
have a great marketing team, RevOps team that helps support us. So I am the uh, kind of the gatekeeper between the sales side of things and then marketing. And so we about 2 years ago we brought in a new CMO. Her name's Steph Ayers, who did great with rebranding the company, getting us new content for. We have several modules. I think when we look at all of the module offerings that we have, it's about 14 or so.
mm,
When I say or so, there's always these unique scenarios where we can edit a module just a little bit for a new vertical, and then now it's technically a new offering. But when we have call it 14 modules, there's a lot of content, a lot of use cases, a lot of data that you want to put behind that. And so we have a great marketing team here that is what they came in and did immediately was, do a company revamp from a brand standpoint. We were really food centric when I came onto the company. That's where we were birthed originally. We working with your Chick-fil-A's, your Inspire brands, your Raising Cane's of the world, Papa John's. I could go on and on. We really did a lot of damage there, but for us to break off into airlines, transportation, energy, when those people come to our website, it needs to feel not so food centric. And so what she had a heavy hand in coming in here and making our website is what it looks like now.
mhm.
So where someone from airlines or transportation, medical devices comes to the website, there's going to be content, a demo page that's relevant to them. So I think that's huge, especially if you have a product like us that's truly industry agnostic. At the end of the day, we what I sell is digitized checklist, audits, assessments, reporting, managing your incidents, corrective actions. Um, so a lot of that's going to be in every single industry. Now it's just how do we, what wording do we use? What are
Mm,
some of the types of forms that we show up? We don't want to show food related checklists, food safety forms to a construction company. So
right.
it's making sure that we go, I'll even tell you this too. There's some competitors of ours that like to have a lot of forms even on their website that have give examples. And hey, we've probably pulled some examples from there as well. It helps us, it's all public intel. So great marketing team, and that was what they came on to do immediately was do a full brand revamp.
And so, Mike, you kind of pointed at your role in all of this is to bridge the gap, which is another one of those kind of touchy subjects where, on one hand, you have the marketing team who's out here generating leads and doing the best that they can, and then on the other hand, you got the sales team who is responsible for taking those leads and turning them into clients. And in a lot of cases, the bridge or the communication between both entities, there's a bit of a disconnect. And when leads come in from multiple pipelines and they get dumped into the sales bucket, the sales team's now tasked with that challenge of like, what do I say to the people to get them to the right thing? So when it comes to kind of managing that connection between the two teams, what are you guys doing to smooth that out and make it a little bit more effective and cohesive for both teams?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question because I think that's an ongoing, business relationship always. As the teams grow, as more processes come into place, there's always more automation. The biggest thing is, getting an idea. Okay, where and what can we automate that is effective? That is something that I've learned in the last 3.5 years, really growing this company. Sometimes you can automate things that don't need to be automated yet, might create too much of a just for the sake of automating. So it's really finding that happy balance. Whenever you have salespeople opposed to marketing people, RevOps marketing folks are going to be a lot more process and task driven in my experience.
Hmm.
Salespeople or myself, we're very motivated and we want to get things done quick, 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 on to the next. So it's really trying to manage, okay, how can I make sure I'm checking the boxes that marketing RevOps is needed from a process standpoint? They have a list of boxes that they got to check. So where that's not too much, it's not too cumbersome on the SDRs or on the account executives. Sometimes, 3 or 4 extra step processes can really throw a hindrance in getting the right reporting. So it's really getting in an agreement with marketing, RevOps if they're different leaders. In this case, RevOps and marketing are this run up to the same leader. So making sure that I'm able to check off her, 3 or 4 biggest things as a uh, owner of her side of the pipeline, and then still be able to have the same agility, speed, and momentum on the sales side that we need because uh, once the sales processes can get bottlenecked,
Hmm.
that's whenever you start to see things you can see in the pipeline. and that'll show relatively quickly. So
Yep.
it's a balancing act, but it's you'll get better at it as you continue to work with them. As long as you're open, you communicate. I always say, don't go back and forth with Slack messages or Teams messages. Hop on a 5 minute call, 10 minute call, uh, and you'll always be able to stay on the same page. So little bit of intel into that for you.
Yeah, yeah, just keeping that well, and encouraging the channel of communication to stay open and consistent across the board. That's such a um, easily overlooked thing because it's very simple. It's a very simple thing to say, "Hey, listen, talk to each other, guys." And
It is.
it's funny because I do notice sometimes that it's job security, right? If marketing department's having a hard time because the leads they're generating aren't closing, and sales is having a hard time because the people they're talking to aren't closing, both people kind of risk, this potential of losing their job and their livelihoods. And so it does lead to a little bit of a protection of self mechanism kind of kicks in. And so it's hard to deconstruct that and create an environment where people feel safe to be uh, critical, to
Yep.
be, um, from that perspective of, hey, something's broken and I want to share that something's broken, but I'm worried that if I share something's broken, it's, I'm going to be the one that gets, don't shoot the messenger. I'm going to be the one that's going to be in trouble. But to your point, yeah, keeping that channel of communication open and having leadership set that example and precedent for the teams really makes a big difference in the long run. So when it comes to some of the kind of future goals, what are the things that you guys are aiming at? What's on the horizon for you and CMX1?
Yeah, great question. So we are, we when I came on, we were doing just a little under $3 million a year in annual revenue. We've just hit 20. So I know, we're excited to hit
Congratulations,
20,
that's
25.
incredible.
Yeah, thank you. I mean it. I couldn't be more um, satisfied, excited, blessed for this whole role. I mean it. I found this off Indeed. Not too many people find jobs that they're in awe over just off Indeed. So I've always been counting my lucky stars. Let me tell you.
Hmm.
So yeah, we want to get to 25. That's a big goal, and then 50. I think really what the goals here are with what we have in place between Sean and I. Sean's my boss. We really want to continue to, be able to move people up, enable SDRs to become account executives to become enterprise account executives. Be able to really make this company have not just be known in the food space, but we really want to be known in the energy and the airline and the transportation space. So we're really trying to push some of those industries and um, maybe an anchor in some of those industries like we have in the food, hospitality, grocery space. There's no secret, obviously we're owned by Morgan Stanley, so we want to, either take this company public or sell to a big boy company out there. So that's definitely on our radar and a goal. And then lastly, I think kind of pivoting off from the team or the company goals and into mine, my goals, my goal is I want to be a CEO of a billion-dollar technology company. And so really trying to, I want people that I can potentially take with me to the next company or the company after that. So we're really trying to build a community of people like, hey, we're going to get this job done here. And then you don't know how long we will or won't be here, but let's keep continuing to work together. Let's go make an impact at the next company, maybe the next company after that. And so we have a core group that I think we can do it. But time will tell. So a few different scenarios of goals there.
Yeah, that's very aspirational, but also the idea of exploring new verticals and trying new things, I think is a huge part of that. When in pursuit of this, what do you foresee being some of the challenges that you might face?
Yeah, I think anytime we're breaking into new verticals, there's going to be in some of these other industries that we're breaking into, there's technology that we're just not as familiar with yet. And so
Mm,
there's going to be definitely some deals that we lose, and there's are going to be big learning moments as we try to break into X industry. These are the things that this company who has a large majority of the market share is able to do that we can't. And how do we respond to that? That's going to be a big thing. Next would be I think as you just continue to grow a company. So I came on and I was about our 33rd or so employee. We've just passed 100, so we haven't grown too fast. We've almost tripled in a few years. Some companies, you throw $75 million at them from a Morgan Stanley. They grow like, hotcakes. So we haven't done that, which is good. It will just be making sure as we continue to grow, we're bringing on the right people. And anytime you grow a company, you're adding reps. You always want to see the pipeline grow, the revenue grow. That's not always the case.
Hmm.
So I think those are going to be the two big challenges: is how do we overcome some of the new technology that we're going to go up against, and then just ensuring as we are growing, we're slow to hire and make sure that those people that we do bring on, that they're able to keep carrying the torch in the right direction.
Yeah, that's uh, incredible in terms of the insight or foresight that you have, and the insight into what's next, and what you got to do, and to understand that, hey, like a lot of this is going to be a learning, and some of it's going to be big learning, and
Yep.
but to your point, having the right team members and having the right culture to continue to foster growth with everybody that you kind of bring into that team is such a powerful way to grow things. Listen, man, this has been great. You've been very generous with your time and your wisdom, and for that, I'm very grateful. As we close out the show here, I wonder if you imagine somebody else who's kind of out there, up to it, in a similar role, facing some challenges, what sort of advice might you offer them?
Yeah, I would say, anybody in this role, anybody that's aspiring, highly aspire, or trying to aspire to be a big time salesperson, business leader, lean on self development books. Anyone reach out to me. There's something that I've done a lot of over the last few years. There's definitely some people I could refer to, and a term that I've always practiced, and it's hard, but it's called radical accountability. Even in moments where you can tell yourself, this is not my fault. Figure out a way that you could have still prevented it and then make it your fault. And then moving forward, you're going to be stronger every single time. And I've only been in the business world for, call it 7, 8 years. But that's something that I noticed immediately was if I can be radically accountable on myself, then other people are going to be able to rely on me a whole heck of a lot more. I can rely on myself more, and you'll continue to get better. So, self improvement and figure out ways that you could have made the situation better, even if you feel like I did everything right, I said all the right things, I did all the right things. Well, go before that. There still could have been something along the way that you could have altered it, and I think that'll help a lot. And I guess lastly, uh, every meeting that you go into, whether it's internal or external, everybody has their own agenda. Selfishly, unselfishly, they always do. If you can go into every meeting and get an understanding of what that person's top 2 or 3 things that they want out of that meeting, and then you're putting yourself in their shoes, so you know how to talk to them, you know how to work with them, you know how to give them responses that may not be triggering, um, and that's going to just always help out your network within your company, outside your company. It should be a good working relationship. So kind of broad, but I hope those help somebody out there.
Yeah, really powerful advice. Mike, thank you for doing this. If somebody wanted to reach out to you to pick your brain or perhaps work with you, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, so you could follow me on LinkedIn, Mike McQuarie. I'm not sure if you'll have a link for that. I'm really big on Instagram as well. It's just all one word, Mike McQuarie. I think I'm private on there now, but I'm very active on there. I think actually one day, sooner than later, I really want to take it up a level from some business content. So it would be good to maybe talk with you about that, how you go about that, and editing your clips and cutting things up and all that. So something that I'm looking forward to doing. So anybody who's active on Instagram, feel free to reach out. Any business questions, life questions, I'd be happy to have a conversation about it.
Excellent. We'll make sure to link to that in the show notes so that anybody watching or listening will be able to find you easily. On that note, if you're watching and listening and want to get in touch with me and my team for any of your marketing or AI needs, you can visit nextgengrowth.com. Otherwise, that's it for this episode. Thanks for joining us for this incredible conversation, and I will see you in the next.